everybody? Welcome back again to a little Austin Sports Weekend with Austin, the man here himself. Football is over. The Super Bowl is over.
That only means one thing.
College basketball is in full
fever.
So, but before we get into college basketball, we do have to cover a little Super Bowl.
We have to cover the Super Bowl, and it was a blowout.
And there's some breaking news out there, too. And again, we are on location here again at Autographs Plus, so thanks again
Let's cover this blowout first.
Let's look at the Super Bowl, 40-22, and the last touchdown that Mahomes threw was after the Eagles had already took the Gatorade bath.
The Eagles dominated this game.
It wasn't even close.
The Eagles just absolutely dominated them.
It was a crushing from beginning to end.
Mahomes had probably his worst playoff game of his career, in my opinion.
Oh, I guarantee you, he had two interceptions, one of them a pick six. How many times have you seen Mahomes throw a pick six?
In the playoffs. That's the first pick six he's thrown in the playoffs.
I don't know. He hasn't thrown very many pick sixes, period.
But, let alone in the Super Bowl.
And let alone in the Super Bowl. He didn't have bad numbers. He was 21 or 30.
But a lot of those numbers came in garbage time.
Yeah.
A lot of the game, the Chiefs couldn't get past their own 50-yard line.
He was sacked 6 times.
The Eagles hurried him many more times than that.
They hurt him 32 times, I think. Every single time he threw the ball, they hurt him.
The real MVP of the game was Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
His defense was ferocious.
It was
the front line was ferocious.
Yeah, the Chiefs had no answer for that. They mauled the front line of the Chiefs constantly.
Patrick Mahomes had no
And Travis Kelce was a bystander. He stood around and watched the plays more than he moved and acted in the plays. It was ugly. It was a really ugly game.
But then again, what do you get when you have Matt Nagy as your OC?
We took Matt Nagy. It finally caught up to him. He is a horrible offensive coordinator, and Mahomes has been carrying him the whole year. The Eagles' defense was too good for Mahomes to carry him.
And Matt Nagy, I told Dad he didn't make any adjustments.
No.
Not a single adjustment.
They came out the same on the first drive of the second half as they finished out the first half.
That shows you just someone who can't adjust.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Chiefs' benefit in the future, if they want to get back to the Super Bowl,
and
they need to.
The vaunted Chiefs defense only had 2 sacks
because the Eagles' O-line stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
And Kellen Moore is now a Super Bowl champion,
which shocks me. Kellen Moore we'll talk about it, is now a head coach
of the New Orleans Saints.
Go for it, I guess. Now he's in your division. You get to mess.
Well, it's my turn to do with Kellen now.
Yeah,
you've had your turn with Kellen. Now it's my turn.
Yeah. But congrats to Philly and
the Eagles really deserved that championship the way they played in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Now, they actually held Barkley to only 57 yards rushing.
But Jalen Hurts exploded.
They focused on stopping Barkley. They did.
But Jalen Hurts
went off, and Matt Nagy's offense was dead on arrival until trash time. Yep. When it was trash time, it was
the Eagles should just relax. They had the game in the bag
by that time. They were up what
40-6.
40-6 whenever they.
Yeah, that was 40-6. I mean, you had the game in the bag late in the fourth. You're up 40-6.
Yeah. So all of the numbers that sort of made it look good came late.
The Eagles claimed their second Super Bowl championship in franchise history.
Yeah, which is congrats to them.
And Jalen Hurts, deservedly, in my opinion, has the Super Bowl MVP award.
Definitely.
Maybe this will put to bed all those talks about Jalen Hurts not being good. Maybe that'll put to bed all that.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. It was the defense that won it. It wasn't Hurts.
But who threw those touchdowns and that pretty ball to Devontae Smith?
It was because of the pressure of the defense.
Yes, that was a great part of the game.
That just sounds like what's going to happen. Let's cover some breaking news in the NFL while we're talking about the NFL. The Jets are splitting With Aaron Rodgers. So no more Aaron Rodgers.
in New York.
In
It was
New York.
a very disappointing tenure. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was about 10% his fault and 90% coaches suck there, dude.
Yeah, they
The
chose really.
franchise is having a hard time, but those coaches were terrible. The
Aaron
owners
Rodgers-
having a hard time there.
Woody Johnson might be the biggest problem of them all for
Yeah.
how he's managed the team.
Yeah, or his teenage grandson or whatever it is.
But goodness gracious. To you, Big Al, I really hope that Aaron Glenn, the new head coach of New York, instills a winning culture and gets some good coaches in there.
Exactly. And like we mentioned, Kellen Moore left as the OC of Philly and went down to be the head coach
So,
of the Saints.
The Eagles are searching for their third offensive coordinator in 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Shane Steichen 2 years ago. They lost Brian Johnson last year, and they're going to lose Kellen this year. So, yeah, they're looking for their third new OC in the last 3 years.
Makes it hard to come back the next year and have consistency when you don't have the same
But the
coaches.
good thing
to make
is
the
Vic Fangio may be coming back, so there's consistency on that
The
side.
defense is still going to look good, definitely. Kellen Moore down at the Saints is sort of non-committal on Carr too, so I'm not for
Do
sure
you
what's
think
going to
he's
happen
going to
there.
try to instill something new? Like a new quarterback, new everything?
I don't know. We may go through 1 year of it, and then they may ditch stuff. I don't really know how it's going to go.
What is Aaron Rodgers' future now?
I don't know if he retires or if he goes one more year. I told you where I want him to go play a year at.
Where?
Cleveland.
You want him to go to Cleveland?
I want Aaron Rodgers to go to the Browns for a year. They got great talent. They just haven't had a quarterback since they got rid of
Baker.
Baker.
That's definitely on the GM there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Any other news?
That's about it in the football side. Just to throw some odds and ends out there, Clayton Kershaw came back to the Dodgers for one more year. He said he didn't feel like retiring, so the Dodgers now have all the talent
In the world.
in the Major League Baseball. Every good player is on their team.
What do you think? This is the fault of Rob Manfred for not putting in a salary cap? Is that why the Dodgers are getting all this talent?
I don't know. I don't know how long it can last. I don't know. But yeah,
They're spending over $1 billion.
Which is just nuts. Yeah. I think that's about it as far as breaking news is. Let's go ahead and jump in. We always like to cover, and this will probably be our main topic starting next week, the top 10
Of college hoops.
of college hoops. So let's go ahead and start out. Number 1 is still Auburn, even though
They did suffer a big loss to Florida the other week.
they
last week.
lost to Florida.
But they got the benefit of the doubt
Mm-hmm.
because of their
Well,
strength of
in
schedule.
the AP, they're number 1, and the coaches poll, Bama was number 1. So, but we go by the AP, so they stay number 1 in the
They're a
poll.
pretty darn good team.
Yeah, they got 34 of the top votes. Alabama got 23. Florida actually got 3, and Tennessee still got 1. But we'll talk about Tennessee here in a second. But Auburn's probably still looks like the best team out there. We got a huge matchup. We'll talk about number 2 now is Alabama.
Yeah, what is this? What is this, football?
I don't know, but this Saturday we got
Auburn, Alabama. You wouldn't think that would be such a big marquee basketball matchup until this season.
number 1 Auburn versus.
Number 2, Alabama.
You want to know the last time number 2 played number 1 and College Game Day hosted?
Was that Tennessee
Memphis.
Was that Tennessee-Memphis game all the way back? I still remember that
Yeah,
game.
Tennessee went to Memphis. Tennessee number 2, Memphis number 1, and Tennessee went. Thank you very much. We'll take that win. That was still one of my favorite games.
That's a rivalry I wish came back.
Yeah.
But I just wish that Penny and Rick would have no beef.
Penny's a little penny. Penny's a little pennyish. The game this Saturday is Auburn is at Alabama. Right now it's a 52-48 Auburn favor. So in other words, this game is up in the air. It could be anybody's game. Being at Alabama is going to make it
Alabama can score effortlessly, it seems.
Yeah, and Auburn is a pretty high. This game will maybe in the 90s.
I think that's a good bet.
I think that's a
Alabama
good bet.
just hung 100 on Texas, so
Yeah. Yeah, we were thinking maybe Alabama would be looking ahead a little bit.
nope.
Nope.
They keep scoring.
Mowed right over
They
Texas
just keep
like they
scoring.
were there, yeah. Number 3 now is Duke because they lost.
To Clemson, albeit a pretty good Clemson team.
Clemson is actually starting to look pretty decent.
They're 20-5 right now, and they're in the top 25.
They jumped up to number 23. So we do have another ranked ACC team finally. Woo!
It just took us a while.
Just took us a while to get a second one there. Louisville should be, but they're not.
Next up is Florida.
Florida jumps 3 spots from number 6 up to number 3.
That win over Auburn is definitely going to help them in the future.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Florida has the best offensive rebounding numbers in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened in Auburn? They out-rebounded them.
Out-rebounded them, yeah. I don't know how Tennessee beat them by 20 last week, but they did. So
They did have a terrible off night
they had
shooting.
an off night. Our defense clamped and something happened, yeah. And then speaking about us, we dropped from 4th to 5th.
And we'll probably drop a little
And
more.
we'll probably drop a little more because Tennessee just lost their second game of the year to
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Swept by the arch rival Kentucky.
They outplayed them. They rebounded them, outshot them.
That's the problem I got. Their defense is good.
Tennessee went 3 for 18 from the 3-pointer again.
They just can't shoot consistently.
Kentucky's defense is not really that good. Honestly, they've got a great offense, and their defense is probably where they lack the most. But for some reason, Tennessee cannot shoot against them.
Yeah, for
Doesn't
some
make
reason,
a lot of sense.
I think from the 45 threes from the last game and the 18 threes from this game,
We are 14
put the
of
math
58.
together. Maybe we shouldn't chuck as many three-point shots.
Tennessee's got one of the best defenses in the country that normally clamps people down, and Kentucky again shot 50% from 3-pointers.
So it's a trend.
It is a trend. For some reason, I haven't studied it enough to get it's a bad matchup.
So Kentucky
Somehow,
is that bad matchup?
It's a bad matchup. It doesn't matter how good you are here or how bad you are there. It just is a bad matchup. It just doesn't look good.
Kentucky is a good team, but defensively they struggle. But Tennessee has issues of their own offensively.
Tennessee should have a rebound game. They play
Vanderbilt,
which
is they're trying to stop Vanderbilt from beating them 2 times in the same year.
Yeah, Florida doesn't have another ranked game until March, so they should cruise along unless you look ahead a game or something. The SEC is brutal. Right now, probably again 13 of the 16 teams have an 80 to 90% chance of making the tourney. So I believe Jay Billings said that the SEC tournament's probably going to be harder to win than the NCAA tournament because it is brutal to go through there. But Florida's got an easier road. Tennessee, they got Vandy, and then they got a bye week, and then they got to go to
Texas A&M. That's
Texas
a hard
A&M,
one.
which that is a hard one. We'll actually talk about Texas A&M here in a minute. But number 6, we got Houston.
And the Cougars are back again, and they won another game.
Yeah, but Houston, they just got a good coach.
Kelvin Sampson, he's over the years, I believe he's been one of the better underrated coaches.
He is consistent. He's consistently good, consistently brings a good team in. So they're going to be good. Purdue stayed put at number 7, but they have taken an L.
To Michigan.
Number 20, Michigan. Michigan has jumped up into the top 25. Number 20, Michigan did take down Purdue. So I'm not sure if they'll still be in the top 10, but right now they're number 7. Number 8 is Texas A&M. They jumped up 2 spots from number 10 to number 8, and they're good. Let me just say
they are good.
They are good. They went to Missouri, with Missouri coming off of a loss, and still beat Missouri in Missouri.
That's a pretty challenging place.
That's a pretty challenging place to go win, especially with the team coming off of a loss. Texas A&M is a good team. And then, again, next Saturday, that's who Tennessee has. So that should be a really good game, and it'll be at A&M, so that will be an even tougher game. Number 9, we got the Johnnies.
St. John's.
St. John's. Rick Pitino's second year at St. John's, their top 10 team.
They did just suffer a loss to Villanova, so I don't
They
think it'll
did.
last. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll stay inside the top 10. They might drop back down to number 12 or 13. But still, though,
Rick Pitino has
Rick
got it going.
Pitino, to have a team in your second year there and you got them inside the top 10.
And the top of your conference. That's just Rick Pitino. I mean,
That is just
that's
Rick
the Rick
Pitino.
Pitino effect.
Yeah, that's almost like a Michigan State
Izzo thing.
Izzo thing. A good coach is a good coach. Whatever team you put them on, the team's going to be pretty good.
Especially if you're Izzo taking them to the tournament for 30 straight years. I mean, how is that possible?
I don't know how that's possible. No, we're going to round out number 10 with Iowa State. They finally won a game. They lost 3 straight.
They got their score back.
They got their score back, and then they won by what, 30?
Yep.
They beat the team by 30. So
you wouldn't think losing a player would make a difference.
that team may, I mean, this is the time to get hot. If you're going to get hot, it's in the next month. So Iowa State they could get healthy and get dangerous again. But that rounds out our top 10. Michigan State dropped just right outside. We got Michigan State, Texas Tech, Arizona, Memphis, and UK. UK may jump back up a little bit. They've dropped down to 15. But that's our college basketball for the week. Is anything else breaking?
Not
college
quite
basketball
else.
wise?
Not quite else.
It's been a little quiet outside of the Super Bowl this week, but I'm sure it'll start revving up here again soon. We hope you had a little fun with us. Be sure and share us with your friends. Tell us about us. Tell us who you think's going to win the SEC or maybe just win the whole tournament. 30-33. I don't know. Top what?
Popular pick is Auburn. So.
Well, there's a really good shot that all four number 1 seeds may end up being SEC teams.
Possibly.
If Duke loses one more game,
they can't afford to lose another game at this point.
No, because it's sort of crazy right now. But again, we hope you had a little fun with us. Be sure and share us for your friend. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. There's a groovy baby button over there somewhere again. And we will see you
next week.